Who's going to be Auburn's quarterback in the 2025 class?
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. It's a Charlie Tuesday. We're joined by Auburn message board legend, the Charlie 5, also known as Kyle Rush. And he is the man over at thebarnauburn.com. Subscribe today for just $1 on your first month. We'll talk about how concerned we need to be with the recruiting situation as a whole, but let's zero in and talk about some of these rumblings that are going on about our old buddy Juju Lewis, who we were talking about every single day for a long time. It seems like those rumblings are back. Kyle, is Juju Lewis, in your mind, back in the picture as far as, who's going to be Auburn's potential quarterback in 2025?
I think so. I don't know exactly how much back in the picture, but definitely there's lines of communication are back open. And I actually think he initiated it. I think Juju actually had initiated a contact. I think ultimately if he could, if all things were equal, I think he would pick Auburn or Georgia. But all things aren't equal, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on around him, whether it be NIL, whether it be whatever. I think that ultimately he'd love to be here or he'd love to be at Georgia. So as it gets time and he's sort of as it gets time to, it's getting closer and closer to, signing day and things are getting real. I don't know that maybe going all the way out to California or going to Indiana is as enticing as it actually sounds once it starts getting real. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think he wants those lines of communications open. And I wouldn't be shocked to see a visit if one hasn't already happened, a visit sometime in the near future.
Yeah. I mean, how hard is it going to be for Auburn to get one of these quarterbacks to pull the trigger when they're not able to win a football game that matters? I mean, to me, it's like Auburn's in a tough spot right now.
Yeah. Well, they don't have leverage. Auburn doesn't have any leverage. The quarterback situation for the 2025 recruiting class, you've been snake bit every turn you take. You could have had Deuce Knight last football season, but he had his whole transfer deal, and it kind of made everybody, maybe we should stop and wait and see. Then you got locked into Hassan Longstreet, and you overpassed KJ Lacey, who you could have had in January if you wanted him. You really went all in on Hassan Longstreet, and then you ended up not getting him. You lost him to Texas A&M. Yeah. So you pivot the Juju, and then they string you along for a little while. And then you pivot the Deuce when you could have had him way back when, and now Deuce is seemingly doing a little bit of the same thing. So you don't have any leverage whatsoever. So it's going to be tough. You're going to have to pay. You're going to have to just honestly probably going to have to overpay to get one locked in, because like you said, you're losing your winning makes price tags go down, and it's just tough to get kids to want to get on board that aren't already on board if you're not necessarily putting a bunch of dubs in the win column.
Yeah, I mean, to be frank, I'm shocked there's not a quarterback that's part of this class yet, and I can't believe that Freeze and this staff, they haven't put together a sales pitch to close it. Whether that's NIL in the future, whether that's a path to playing time and kind of saying, hey, this is exactly what it's going to be. Or there's a lot of things that go into this, but I'm just shocked that there's not a guy in this class committed to play quarterback. Yeah, whether it's Juju, whether it's Deuce, I don't care. KJ Lacey, I mean, and I don't know, you've probably heard similar things, but I think Auburn is in a spot where they feel like KJ Lacey would flip if they really pushed him to. Of course, he's committed to Texas right now. But I don't know, like, does KJ Lacey flipping, like, fix your problems in the immediate future? Like, to me, I don't think so. Like, I think you need one of these heavy hitters.
Yeah, and look, I don't know that either one of those guys are going to fix your immediate future either. So
I mean,
it's just
immediate future is in like it puts you in a situation to get a 1-year rental quarterback in December to compete with whoever's on campus, whether it's Walker or Hank or Holden, I guess. Um, and then okay, you've got a really solid shot your redshirt freshman season. I guess that's what I mean by immediate future in the terms of an incoming true freshman.
yeah. I mean, you had again, you had some bad luck, and now you had some bad luck early, and now
Yeah.
you're kind of behind the 8 ball, and you don't have a very I would say you don't have an attractive product to sell, but at the same time, man, if you look at what we did with what Hugh did with Peyton Thorne, who is a little bit limited against one of the best defenses in the country, you feel like that would be something that would be pretty easy to sell. I don't know. I really don't know.
Do you think the kids see that? Because like
I,
you and I see it, but they lost. I mean, and a lot of fans are that way too, where it's like it's great, but people are like, "Where's the improvement?" I'm like, "You didn't see improvement. You didn't see improvement. You lost, and you want to win." And 100%, I'm not like making excuses for Auburn should have won on Saturday, but for there to say like there's been no improvement at quarterback, whatever, I'm like that's just not true. Like I wonder if these high school kids see that.
Well, it's the coach's job to sell that, and there's
Yeah.
there's really no way not to see it. I mean, you have to be just looking with your eyes closed not to see it. So, but again, winning creates hype. Winning creates buzz, and then kids want to jump on after a big win. Like I'm honest, no joke. I feel like if Auburn wins one or two of those 3 games between Cal. Arkansas and Oklahoma, if you win any of those games with Deuce Knight in attendance, I think he probably goes ahead and pulls the trigger and flips. But
You think so?
yeah, because at the end of the day, I still feel like he wants to be at Auburn, but there's really no reason for him to. There's really no reason for him to end it right now. Like he has all the cards. You know what I mean? Like he has all of the leverage. So I don't know. It's a very weird situation. I'm with you. Why hasn't this? It's crazy to think you're this deep into it and you don't have a quarterback yet.
Yeah, you're this deep into it, and like the rest of the class is so good. It's so good. It's like, come on, come complete this, put a bow on it, and you can step in and be, the headliner of this potential top 5 class. Like there's so much that's attractive about it. But yeah, I mean, losing these games, it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you for sure. But still, like you've got to have a guy, and it just stinks that the 2 most recent ones, Juju Lewis and then Deuce Knight, like they've both kind of strung you along. And I don't really know how I think the way you worded it with leverage is
it's all about leverage, man.
Yeah,
it's all about leverage.
In anything. Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, I think the feeling is mutual on both sides with Juju, but it wouldn't shock me also if he's using it, if they're using this as leverage. Like, hey, we're talking to Auburn again, let's up it here or let's up it there. Auburn's going to do this. Like it's all positioning at this point in time. Unfortunately, that's the name of the game.
Yeah, that's a great point too. That's a great point too. If you had to guess right now, December early signing day is done. Who's the quarterback in Auburn's class if there is one?
Honestly, right now, the way things are going, I say you probably don't sign a high school quarterback and you take 2 in the portal. I really think it's trending that way. It feels like it's moving in that direction.
I mean, I'm with you.
Because it seems like I think you're still going to play good football. I think you're going to play some good football. You may, I think you can beat Missouri. I think you can beat Kentucky. I think you can beat A&M. I think you can beat everybody on the schedule except for maybe Georgia and Alabama if you play well. But again, I don't know that you're going to have the hype to be able to build the leverage to be able to go, push one of these kids to go ahead and commit. And they both have really good situations. So after that, why even take anybody else? Like go get you a young, if you want to bring in 2 quarterbacks, this a 1-year rental and then a younger guy, you can go find you a prospect, a really good younger guy in the portal to come in and compete as well. Why not? I mean, other than just the buzz and the class in general and what it could do to the class to not have a quarterback, I don't think it's going to do anything to the guys you have currently committed, but you may not be able to push it over the edge without a high school quarterback. But I mean, honestly, I feel like it's trending that way.
Yeah. Can I throw out 2 names to you?
Yeah.
Just for kicks of like, okay, would an older veteran quarterback and a younger quarterback that both would make sense to enter the portal in December? No inside information here. I want to throw out 2 and you tell me if it's crazy or not. Let's jump into that in just a moment right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by Roy. Charlie 5. Roy is a new platform that lets fans make contributions directly to their favorite athletes. You can download Roy for iOS or Android and enter the referral code Locked On. You'll automatically be entered in a sweepstakes to win $5,000. Roy stands for Return on You, and fans can donate to say, hey, we don't want you to enter the portal. We want you to stay here. And Roy, they've let us kind of pick like players of the week, and Roy's putting some money in their account on Roy. I picked DeMarcus Riddick for player of the week.
He deserves it.
I think so.
Stack it up from DeMarcus.
I think so. The week before was Keandre Lambert-Smith because why not?
Of course.
Because why not? Yeah. So go support these guys on Roy. Get off the sidelines and into the NIL game with Roy. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. We heard this name last portal window, Caden Salter.
Sure.
Liberty quarterback. Obviously, there's some ties there, both with Freeze and other members of the staff. And then another young guy who there's ties to Auburn, Aaron Nolan, who's at Ohio State. His path to playing time seems very difficult right now. He'd have to wait there a long time. So, like, would it make sense for a guy like one of those 2 guys to potentially enter the portal? And maybe you take both of those. One that has 1 year left of eligibility, one who has high upside, and it's like, okay, all right. Like, we didn't get a high school guy in this scenario that we're talking about. Thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's a very, very big possibility. And those 2 names that you threw out there, I think both have shown a lot of interest in wanting to, maybe either transfer to Auburn or play for Auburn out of high school. Aaron Nolan wanted to come to Auburn, and Brian Harsin would not, didn't really, want him. He wanted Holden Garner. I think that was kind of his guy. I don't know if they're exactly in the same class, but
I don't think they are. Like,
no, they're not. They're not. It was whenever the whole. I remember now. Okay, that was the year he was in the class that Harsin got fired, and then Hugh came on, and I think it was a little bit too last minute. You couldn't get him in, but he's from Langston Hughes, from Atlanta, and that was obviously.
So he's in Hank's class.
Hank's class. There you go. He was in Hank's class. Yes.
Right.
And I mean, I've heard some stuff that maybe, he's expressed that he's homesick and maybe would have even come to Auburn this past season if he went into the portal. So could that be a guy that's somebody you look at that if you can't get a high school guy, do you bring him in to compete in that room? I think that'd be a great addition. And then you have, Caden Salter, who I think, if for whatever reason, when he can't remember, he went into the portal for like a day. He went into to the portal, visited Auburn, and then went back, came out of the portal because I think he graduated in May, but for whatever reason, there was some credit transfer stuff. So he's like, you know what? He didn't even really look anywhere else. I think TCU was the only other place that he looked, but he didn't even stay in long enough to go visit them. I don't think. I think he just went right back to Liberty. So that could easily be, hey, okay, I know what I got to do. I'm going to go get it handled. And then, y'all roll with Peyton Thorne again. And then I'll come in for my last year and figure it out. And he's having a really good year. He's thrown for, I was just looking at it. He's thrown for over right at 1,000 yards. And let's see, 950 yards, 7 touchdowns, and only 1 interception, and completing 65% of his passes. And he's a run threat.
He's a good runner,
as well. And he knows that Hugh system, which that's big for Hugh, is being able to make the correct decisions.
He should have led with that, honestly. Like I think that's more important than his production this year. Is like he knows what Hugh wants.
For sure. So it's definitely something. Those 2 names could easily be, if you're going to take 2, those 2 could be it.
So over the last few months, to pivot away from quarterbacks now, Auburn has picked up crystal balls from a lot of guys. Some being your dad.
Yeah, Tom Loy. He's throwing them out there.
Usman Chroma is a big one.
Yeah.
The talented running back. And it sounds like, well, he was going to commit and then he postponed it. And I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's good for Auburn or not, because it sounds like George is back in on it. I think George is kind of the school that he's always wanted to go to based off of, folks that we've talked to. What's your feeling with Chroma as of late?
At first, I was concerned that he postponed it because I kind of felt like once you've had the predictions, he set the date after you started having the predictions, it felt like that was going to be Auburn. And at first, when he postponed it, I was concerned. But then it come to find out his game, because of the hurricane, got rained out on that Friday. So they ended up having, I believe, his game on that Saturday. The same thing with Sam Turner. Sam Turner couldn't come for his official visit because his game got moved. Their games got moved to that Saturday. Right. So I'm a little bit less concerned that it was I'm 100% changing my decision. Now, I think everybody got really sad. They thought Georgia was back in it. And now I'm hearing that Auburn's feeling a little bit more confident, like there is a little bit of a shot, more of a shot. So, I still feel like Auburn's in it there. Again, it all depends on how bad Georgia wants him, because Auburn wants him badly. Mm-hmm. So does Georgia want them? And if you catch my drift, if you know what I'm saying, if Georgia wants him as bad as Auburn wants him, then they could possibly get him. But I'm not sure that they're quite there yet.
I gotcha.
Do you pick up what I'm putting down?
I think so. I think so. If there was some way to value how much somebody wanted you.
Yeah, they can do that now. They can do that.
That's right. That's right. Nope, I get it. All right, so there's a narrative out there amongst the Auburn fan base and beyond that Auburn is going to be in trouble on the recruiting trail because they're 2-3 right now. Not the craziest take in the world, but I want to jump into specifically what that would mean in just a moment, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Charlie 5, can you imagine wagering anywhere other than with our friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook?
I cannot.
Nope. Hey, on FanDuel, Auburn is a 24.5-point dog against the Dogs this weekend as they travel to Athens. Gut reaction, does Auburn keep it within 24.5?
I can't, honestly, I'm the bug in me is going to say yes.
I kind of think so too, actually.
How mad is Georgia? That's what I want to know. How pissed off are they after that game?
Good question.
After the first half, I would have said Auburn's in this thing. I would have taken Auburn, but then they started lighting it up. So I have no idea, honestly, right now.
Yeah, I don't either. But hey, you can get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's over at FanDuel.com. Charlie 5, final few minutes here. So the narrative and the everydayers know we've talked about this a little bit. Auburn has a top 5 class right now. According to 247, they are the #4 class.
Best class we've ever had as it sits right now. If you were to sign it, it's the best class Auburn's ever had.
Yeah, 24 guys committed right now. There's this talk amongst either, I don't know if it's angry Auburn fans or paranoid Auburn fans, and there's a lot of both of those, and that's fine. Guys in this class you're concerned about losing because Auburn is losing. Do you have any that come to mind? Do you think there's a lot of them? Because they all seem to really like Auburn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they talk really highly of Auburn. You look at Jared Smith, Anquan Fagans, they've been here for several games.
Well,
Alvin
I love
Henderson.
Jared Smith over the weekend. He's telling reporters
he still thinks he's getting Deuce.
Yeah, Deuce Knight's a lock to Auburn. It's okay, all right. That guy seems in. That guy seems bought in, which is good.
There's two that I kind of have my eye on as far as.
Can I guess?
I would just guess.
Fagans?
No. I'm not
really, even though he's got the Bama visit coming.
I'm not worried about Anquan Fagans at all.
Malik Autry?
That's one I'm watching that I'm a little bit
Ohio State?
About. Yes.
The other one, I was so Fagans is kind of the one I'm most worried about. So
I don't think there's anything to worry about with Fagans. Derick Smith is the other. Derick Smith and Malik Autry are the two that
Okay.
I feel fine about, and I know Malik likes to play the game, and he's very smart about it. And I don't blame him. Go on as many visits as you want, because now you get paid every time you go on a visit. So why not go visit as many places as you can? And then, hey, Auburn's lost a little bit of leverage. So, this would be a time if you want to maximize a lot of time, these kids, their value is never as high as when they're, a high school senior or on the actual college football, on one of the football rosters. So do everything you can to make, because nothing's guaranteed. So I get that. And
jump into Derick Smith, because I haven't really heard anything on this front.
Look, he's really quiet. That's number one. So you can't really ever get a good read on him. He doesn't do anything that makes you feel super excited. Like, he doesn't do anything that's like seems like he's super excited. You know what I mean?
Okay,
so
sure.
Especially about Auburn, and that could just be his personality. But I know that his family are big Alabama people. I know that they're a big Alabama family.
And just to refresh people's mind, he flipped from Bama.
Alabama, and I do think Alabama still wants him, and they would love to, flip him back and send a shot that says, hey, you made all this fuss about recruiting in state, and here we are, we're going to flip one back from you. So those two are really the only ones that I've seen that I would necessarily be a concerned about. And I'd be a little bit more concerned with Derick Smith than I am Malik Autry. But again, Malik's done this a lot, where he's visited a bunch of places. He's talked about, I got to shut down my recruitment, or he's made quotes like that that's made people nervous. So he's played the game. So he's definitely one that I want to watch. And then Derick Smith, just because he seems a little bit unpredictable. He seems a little bit, he's not very excitable. He's quiet. He doesn't say a ton. And anytime they don't talk, you get a little nervous, I guess.
And I want to be clear, and I'm going to speak on behalf of you, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, but this is not you saying that you think Auburn is in danger of losing these guys.
No.
You're just saying these are the two that you're watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's a narrative that, Auburn's losing, so all these recruits are going to jump off the boat. And it's like, I don't think that's true.
Let me make a point about that too. Everybody points to the case study of Florida last year. Okay. And here's the difference between Florida and, in my opinion, and Auburn in those two situations. I don't think you can just look at the way that those two played out and say they're equal. Okay. Number one, Florida's in multiple, they're in lawsuits over NIL right now. Okay. So they've had kids that they didn't honor their contracts. They've had a lot of people talk about, they've had a lot of kids that have had a lot to say about their NIL. Okay. So that's one thing that Auburn doesn't have. And sometimes I've said this before, the transparency of On to Victory and the NIL at Auburn is probably a huge pro. And it's been maybe even a burden at sometimes. Cause like sometimes you want them to just say whatever you got to say to get them, but they don't do that. Whatever they promise, they honor. So that when you have kids that are I guess thinking about leaving, they're like, man, do I go somewhere that I don't know what's going to happen, or do I stay where I know something's guaranteed? I know that they're going to honor their word. I think that's a big plus that Auburn has that Florida didn't. And then another thing is,
and before you go, like, reputation on this is super, super important. Like the situation that happened with UNLV and their quarterback and all of that, like that's going to happen more.
Oh, sure.
And it's happening in smaller degrees, less dramatic degrees all the time, where you're promised, $4,000 a month or $5,000 a month, and you're getting $2,000 a month. And then you hit the portal and there's not this big stink. Like that's happening at a lot of places, and it's not happening here.
It's not. And then the other piece was that, Billy Napier, yes, Hugh has lost some games. Billy Napier lost some games, but Billy Napier also lost some games with a first-round quarterback. So like there's some worries about, can he actually take really good players and win with them? I just don't think Auburn quite has the roster yet to be able to compare to something like that. So, Hughes lost some games with a limited quarterback, in my opinion. And some of that's his own not some of it. That's his own doing, because he picked him out and then he kept him one more year. But I just don't think everybody sort of leans on that case study. Oh, we're going to be the next Florida. Oh, we're going to be this. Oh, we're going to be that. but I don't feel like it's a complete apples to apples comparison. Auburn has a much, much more solid, reputable NIL program that is very, that is very, very comforting to these kids that know that, hey, I know I've got this locked in and I'm not going to lose it. And they're going to honor me. And hey, I maybe even be able to get a raise to stay versus I'm going to go take a chance on the unknown. Hey, you know what else? Agents like certainty. So that's something else. Like these people that tell them where they need to, these people that are guiding them on these decisions. I think that means a lot to agents as well to know.
That's a good point. I hadn't really thought about that.
That they're guaranteed, hey, do we want to, I can make some calls and we can play this game back and forth, but there's still no real, blueprint of how this thing's supposed to run. So you're kind of just at the mercy of, the word of the institution that you go to and then their collective. So, and Auburn's got a really good reputation there. So
the reputation
that could be something that I think plays in Auburn's favor as well.
No, I love that. I mean, and Auburn's NIL back when it was like NIL Auburn and then, kind of all combined into On to Victory. I mean, they've been one step ahead as far as the structure of like how to handle everything. They've been outstanding. They've been outstanding every step of the way. So hats off to them.
Compliance, fulfillment, and honoring, and in fundraising as well. Like they do all those things really, really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then like mixing in like War Eagle Plus and like adding value to your On to Victory membership and all that. They've been great. They've been great. And also just like selfishly like super responsive when I want to like ask a question about how everything works. Like they answer me really quick. So because I don't want to just like talk out of my what. So yeah, they've been outstanding as far as like helping media be correct the way we talk about this too. So I think Auburn fans, because of that, are kind of more aware of what is actually happening than a lot of fan bases, which is kind of nice. Kind of nice.
Hey, Hugh's putting them, or they're going to get put to the test. They're going to get put to the test this offseason for sure.
Real quick, why are you so confident with Fagans?
Number one, because his brother's here. That's one, and then
Fair.
I think his dad's been very, very pro Hugh Freeze and been very very. He's a big part of this recruitment, and I think that they just have a big connection, a very good connection there. And if you remember, he was like locked into Hugh for months and months and months before he ever actually committed. Like when he committed, we were just like, yeah, we knew it was coming, kind of thing. So, and then Auburn sort of building that Thompson pipeline, and he sees what Caleb Harris has been able to do, and I think he could be able to do. Hey, those two guys legitimately could be the two guys next year, if you think about it.
Yeah. Caleb is unbelievable.
Caleb is what a hit. What a
we were like, oh, okay. He goes to Thompson, so whatever. And it's like,
we're like, oh, KJ Bolden.
He's the best freshman on this team right now. Like,
hey, he may be better than KJ Bolden. KJ Bolden was the guy that you wanted. You know what I mean? That was his replacement. So Caleb Harris was the replacement for KJ Bolden when you missed on him at the end.
I mean, as far as value, like give me all the Caleb Harrises in the world.
Give me 100 of them.
Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. Charlie 5, thebarnauburn.com. It's incredible. It's the place to be. Tell people why.
Oh man, I mean, just an example. Just an example. Caught wind Friday after breakfast. DeMarcus Riddick, watch out for him. He's going to be coming off the edge. And hey, regardless of how you feel about it, look out for some Sam Jackson Wildcats. So I went straight to the barn and put it on there, and sure enough, both things happened. And you didn't hear that talk anywhere else. That's the kind of stuff. It's just a typical message board that you have everywhere else. Only it's done from a different perspective. We have really good conversations, and I think the content's great, and then the community that we're building is great as well. And you can try it for just $1. It's the best investment ever. If you hate it, you're only out $1, but you're probably going to love it.
Yeah, you're probably going to love it. That's right. Hey, go to thebarnauburn.com. Please like this video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.